Share your process images, be active on your stories, and engage. It's practically impossible to grow an audience without putting effort into it. You can't post it, set it, and forget it in the beginning and expect magic. Remember, you get back what you put in. What's going on? You're listening to episode 76 of the Perspective Podcast, and I'm your host, Scotty.D.Russell of Perspective Collective. This show is all about carving out time to build something for yourself. I want to share what is and isn't working for me, along with sharing my guest point of view. This platform also allows me to cast the spotlight and celebrate those creating big waves in the community through interviews and weekly doses of inspiration in the outro, so don't miss that. It could be you. I need to start off by just giving a massive thank you to you, the listener. The amount of new people contacting me for the first time and letting me know they're a first-time listener has been absolutely insane lately, and it reflects in the numbers. I try not to be a numbers guy and talk about it, but you always have to have some type of goals that you're trying to reach. So last week, we hit over 70,000 downloads, which absolutely blows my mind, as I have a stretch goal of hitting 100K by August for my 2-year anniversary. For our 2-year anniversary. It's not just me. And it feels like a strong possibility of this happening, which is just wild. And I owe so much thanks to you for listening and sharing on social media or directly with people who could benefit from it. It means the world to me, and I want you to know how grateful I am, and I don't take your time for granted. I always want to deliver some type of value for you. Hopefully you know by now that I'm all about experimenting to see if I can push things to the next level. I realize many people in my audience are focused on lettering, as they probably found me through Instagram. However, I know the majority of my audience wants to learn how to improve their craft and get more eyes on their work. That's why today I'm switching things up with the collaboration blog post / episode that you're listening to with my new brother Max at lettering_daily on Instagram. Not only does he curate a successful lettering feature account, but he also loads up his website full of education, inspiration, and resources for aspiring or seasoned lettering artists. So Max reached out to me in March asking if I wanted to publish a tutorial on the site, but I'm like, nah, bro, I got a different idea. I'm not really one to do tutorials because anything I really wanted to teach is pretty much done by someone else who's done it way better than me and who has a ton more video editing skills. So I figured, why not create an in-depth resource to help lettering artists grow an Instagram audience and potentially land client work as well, because we all want to get paid to kill it with our craft. So don't worry if you are not a lettering artist, okay? This will still apply to you. There's so much value jam-packed in here that no matter what medium or style you create in, this can help you grow an audience and elevate your craft. So here's where things get a little different. There's going to be a brief overview of this in the show notes at perspective-collective.com/76, but I'm going to forward you actually to the main post. So if you want to read the full blog post with all the links and images, I encourage you to visit lettering-daily.com/6-tips-4-Instagram-lettering. Let's make it even easier. Better yet, just go to lettering-daily.com and just check for the latest article. If you think someone can find value in this episode, please give it a share on social media like you've been doing. I see you. I sincerely appreciate it. It's because of your word of mouth that the show keeps growing, and you know I love you for it. Finally, if you catch some inspiration from the show, create some work and tag me at Perspective Podcast on Instagram. I'll give it a share where I post each week's episode artwork and make sure you get some credit. Let's get into the show. Over the past few years, the resurgence of lettering has skyrocketed, creating tons of opportunities for lettering artists to flex their skill set and get paid. Businesses are drooling for that personalized yet imperfect human touch that a refined typeface struggles to deliver. They are scavenging Instagram, Behance, and Dribbble, searching for that perfect candidate who can execute their vision. And just like your elementary gym class dodgeball games, you want to be the first person they pick. Let's face it, People with a large following, aka social proof, and a strong body of work tend to get picked first. So what's the secret to growing an Instagram audience with your lettering? Buying followers is definitely not the answer, so throw that idea into the dumpster and set it on fire immediately. Sadly, growing an audience isn't as easy as warming up leftover pizza in the microwave. It takes time, experimentation, and perseverance to earn some attention on your work. For those of you who are looking for an overnight success formula, this isn't for you. For those of you playing the long game of growing an audience and possibly a career from lettering, then please keep reading. Or listening in this case. So let's get into this. Here's 6 practical tips for growing your Instagram lettering audience. And each section has an actionable takeaway so you can put things into practice ASAP. All right, number 1, the art of using hashtags. And I want to note and preface this up front, the following is what's worked for me over the years. Study what works for others that you look up to, that you enjoy, that are your favorite artists, then find what works for you. I'm open to any feedback or advice as the Instagram algorithm is always changing. What's really helped me grow my audience over the past 4 years is figuring out the proper way to use hashtags. These magical little links allow your work to be discovered by the entire planet, not just your followers. What I tend to use is a mixture of 20 to 25 hashtags that range from large usage, which is like 500K to a million plus, medium usage, which is 100,000 to 500,000, to small usage, which is 10K to 100K. I recommend researching and finding the top 10 popular hashtags related to the lettering game that have the most activity and build your list from there. And again, if you're not into lettering, utilize this with whatever kind of medium you create. In the past, I used to post this running list of hashtags immediately as the first comment. However, lately I've been experimenting with posting them in the caption. The Instagram algorithm is always changing, so I'm constantly experimenting and adapting to the platform. Just remember, you're building on rented land, so you have to play by the landlord's rule. Tip. Again, keep a running list of high, medium, and low usage hashtags in your notes app on your phone. That way you can simply copy and paste easily into your post. Getting features is the number one way I found to boost your followers quickly. There are a ton of lettering feature accounts that will feature their favorite works daily, and I mean a ton, especially if you utilize their hashtag or tag them on your post. So in no particular order, these accounts are, of course, I'm leading off with lettering_daily. Shout out to Max. Next is my homegirl Brooke from Good Type. Then you have Dennis from Calligratype, Guy from Type Gang. You have Nico at The Daily Type. You have Ben over at Typespire. You have Typography Inspired, who just came back. That's a huge account. You have my homie Josh over at Type Yeah. You have Art of Type, Handmade Font, Type Oozle, Type Matters, Calligraphy Masters, Typography_and_calligraphy. And I'm going to have all of these listed in this blog post that you can just click and go right to them. And one more tip that you should be aware of, you now have the ability to follow hashtags to keep up to date with your favorite hashtag activity and see what other people are doing. Like I said, each section I'm going to end it with an action step. So this one is spend some time researching and build a list of high, medium, and low usage hashtags. Follow the above mentioned lettering accounts and get familiar with how they operate, what kind of work that they post, and if they have a hashtag that you can use. Number 2, engage with the community. Instagram is the most popular app, hands down, because of its engagement in the niche communities that live within it. Some of my closest friends that I've never met in person are people I've connected with on this platform. I'm not even shitting you. I'm dead serious. And these people from all over the world. Back in episode 69 of the podcast, James Lewis of the Ligature Collective and I talked about one of the secrets to building an engaged audience is actually, you guessed it, engaging with the platform itself. Don't be a distant onlooker of other people's work and expect people to flock to your account. Do. Take the time to comment on other people's work with something of substance and not just dope or a couple fire emojis. Also, do your best to respond to everyone's comment, especially in the beginning. You're small enough. You can make the time to make it happen. So if someone took the time to comment on your work, show the decency to comment back. I know people who have 100,000 plus followers and they make an effort to respond back to everyone, so no excuses. And someone who's a rock star at this is Ian Barnard, and he has over 200,000 people. The more you continually show up and pour into others, the better the odds that they take notice of you. Eventually, they may swing through and browse your page to connect. Personally, I see repeating people showing love on my account, which catches my attention. And sometimes when I have the free time, I check out their page only to be blown away by their work. And then I pull the trigger and I immediately follow them because I feel like I just found a hidden gem. Catching the attention of big feature accounts works the same way. Constantly be active on their page, participate in their prompts like Good Type Tuesday, and leave comments on the work that they feature. This is the same with any type of account, with anything you do. There's tons of photography featuring accounts, illustration featuring accounts, food accounts. So whatever you can think of, they're out there. And this principle is going to apply to that as well. The more effort you put into engaging on the platform, the more engagement will come your way. And this is life in general, but you will always get back what you put in. Action step. I challenge you to leave a genuine comment 10 times daily on people's work you admire. And you can get super brave and DM them directly. But don't always expect them to respond. I just encourage you to do it anyway. 1, you're just sharing love and pouring to other people. And 2, you're building good Instagram karma, and you never know when it's going to come back to you. So yes, that's 70 comments in a week. You got this. Make it happen. Number 3, one of the key ingredients for audience building is reminding people that you exist. While posting daily can be great, it's a lot of work and hard to manage quality and valuable output. Lauren Hom, on episode 75, which was just last week, dropped a gold nugget stating, "Do you have something to say or are you just making noise?" Take that to heart. Don't feel the need to post just to post. Instead, I recommend posting at least once a week. People love seeing how the sausage is made, so consider sharing a work in progress picture along with the final. That's 2 birds/2 posts with 1 stone. Someone like Pies Brand or Peace Brand, that's PIESBRAND. This dude is a shining example of sharing work in progress posts throughout the week while he works his way to his final piece. This dude is the shit. Highly recommend following him and studying how he shares multiple pieces of the same work in a week. Here's another tip. If you use Procreate on the iPad, like I've been using a lot lately because it speeds up my workflow, you can export a time-lapse video too, creating an extra post that shows the process as well. So that could be 3 posts in a week. A work in progress, a final, and a time-lapse video. You can share separately or you can combine them in a swipeable gallery. I like to do that at times. Another tip for engagement is sharing your process in your stories. I get some of my best interaction with people through my DMs as you get to show your less curated and more human side in your stories. And not only am I constantly sharing how I create each thing and answering questions, but I'm going to share my cats often. I'm going to share what kind of pizza I'm eating for the day and just any kind of silly things that, I enjoy, that I find valuable, that show who I am as a person. If you're stuck on generating ideas, I have 2 ways to keep the bucket overflowing. Number 1, participate in online prompts and initiatives like Lauren Hom's Homework series, Stephen Kuhn's Created the Day, you got Colin Tierney's Calligraphy Community, Inktober in October, 100 Days of Lettering Challenge, 36 Days of Type, and like I mentioned before, Good Type Tuesday Challenge. Number 2, in episode 29, I share how you can battle creative block by collecting all your ideas that you have throughout the day and building a gold reserve. If you struggle generating ideas, this episode is for you. I promise this one is insanely valuable. So go back at perspective-collective.com/29. So action step. Share 2 posts a week. A work in progress post along with the final. Also, take the time to peel back the curtain and show your process on your stories and answer questions people may have. Moving on to number 4, proper presentation appeal. You may be wondering, Scotty, can't just taking a quick photo and posting it be enough? Unfortunately, work that's staged tends to stand out more on this platform, as this is what Instagram was originally created for. So here's a tip. A few people that I think are crushing the presentation game are Dan Lee, my brother Dan Lee of Dan Drawn Words on Instagram. Then you have Millart said, so that's MILLART.SAID. And this one I'm going to butcher. Kairu, I'm just going to spell it KHAIRULITIE. And then you have Zachary Kiernan. That's Zachary as in ZACHARYKIERNAN. Wow, it's just probably way easier for you to go to the post and actually click on these people's names. You will not be disappointed on how amazing of compositions and stage photos these people take. It is truly incredible, and it makes their feeds look amazing. And my brother James Lewis writes up a great post on Ligature Collective site, but he writes a post on how to present your lettering in 4 easy steps, which I'll summarize and add below. So number 1, he states, clean lettering on good archivable paper is super important. With the exception of work in progress shots, those don't have to be super tidy and clean. Number 2, gather relative props to place around your work. And usually these are tools you used in the piece. All right, don't be putting random shit in your photos that has nothing to do with your photos. I think that is absolutely stupid. Sorry to be pretty blunt there, but I've been in this lettering game long enough to know that is just dumb. Number 3, shoot your photos in daylight if possible. If you don't have the best schedule like I don't for shooting in daylight, try to use daylight substitutes. So I have daylight bulbs in my office with little lamps that I can set up to try and mimic it the best I can. And number 4, shoot your photos and edit in Photoshop, or you can do it all through mobile through apps called Snapseed and ViscoCam. For me, I recommend staging your drawing on your own. But if you lack the time or skill set, Stephen Coons makes some solid mockups to get started in the beginning. This is good for the beginning, but the more people keep using it, the more everyone's work is going to look the same. So please keep that in mind. And to go that extra mile, you can find other mockups online for free or for purchase that can help communicate what your drawing will look like in use, which can attract clients. And I actually have an awesome example of this. So Eric Friedenson, also known as FDOT, EFDOT, on Instagram, created some lettering of a mural. It's like Sunday Love, I believe. He shot a photo of a brick wall in New York and imposed that lettering on it to simulate a mural. He ended up getting contacted by the business like a year later whose wall he mocked it up on, and they hired him to actually paint it. And in this post, I actually link up both his previous drawing that was just simulated, and the second image is the actual mural that was created. So you never know when you go that extra mile what kind of work you may be able to attract or land. So action step. Study what others are doing and take the time to stage your work and edit the composition. Go the extra mile and mock it up on real-world objects to attract possible business opportunities. Number 5, deliberate practice. This is the rule you never want to hear, but it's the most important of them all. People want to consume quality work consistently, so grinding away on your craft behind closed doors is how you will improve quickly. Let's talk about know the rules so you can break them. With lettering, it is absolutely crucial that you understand 2 basic things. The first is typography fundamentals. I'm talking about hierarchy, type pairing, compositions, kerning, tracking, leading, spacing, width, whatever, okay, etc. There's more out there, but you need to know these things. Number 2, typographic structure and anatomy. And this is referring to things like counters, bowls, stems, shoulders, legs, crossbar, ligatures, which are my favorite, entry, exit strokes, swashes, etc. Now, hand lettering is amazing. I love it so much because you can create virtually anything you want within reason. To do so, you have to know the rules so you can break them. Avoid disguising your lack of knowledge and flaws by vomiting a ton of different lettering styles, details, and embellishments all in one piece. Believe me, I used to do this, but when you put the weight on the vertical upstroke of a serif cap A instead of the downstroke, no amount of detail can cover that up, and the people above you who know lettering can pick out your errors in a heartbeat, okay? I can see right through all the wave and sea of details to find the fundamentals that you aren't caught up to speed with, so know the fundamentals. Next, I want to encourage you to make time, not excuses. So something you know already is that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. There are people with kids and a day job, yet still find time to practice 15 to 30 minutes daily. And last episode, Lauren Hahn mentioned that Amy Tangerine says in her book, Craft the Life You Love, just 15 minutes a day equals one workday a month. Like, that is wild if you really think about it. Things can really add up. So anybody, I truly believe anybody can make 15 minutes in a day happen. Find those pockets of time each day that you can practice, like early mornings, 10-minute breaks, lunch breaks, evenings, commute, writing your grocery list is great practice, etc. And here's another tip. In episode 68, I share 5 ways to make time for your creative side hustle and get results. Go back and listen to that one if you struggle making time. Also, take advantage of free online material like articles, tutorials, and practice sheets. There is so much free stuff out there. In my Facebook community, I started building an ongoing list of these free resources too. So the Perspective-Collective on Facebook, you can find it. I'm always building resources. However, if you have the financial means, invest in yourself and purchase lettering books. I have a resources page on my website, perspective-collective.com/resources. Take lettering workshops or purchase online courses through Skillshare, Creative Live, Lynda, etc. And also on that resources page, I have tips, tutorials, books, and all the tools that I use and where you can snag them as well. So, action step. Spend 15 to 30 minutes a day learning and practicing the fundamentals to elevate your craft. The higher quality your work, the better chances of you getting featured, or better yet, hired. Number 6, the final one. Be different and rise above the noise. Over the years, Instagram has become a saturated sea of people regurgitating each other's style. The majority of work and presentations start to look the same as people try so hard to fit in and jump on a trend. If you want to grow an audience, wouldn't you want to stand out and rise above the noise? I'd think so. That's why I want to encourage you to do a deep dive and find what makes you unique. I talk about this all the time, but your stories, your interests, DNA, experiences, humor, cleverness, and weird quirks are what can help you differentiate yourself from the herd. I found the weird things that interest me, like cats, pizza, outer space, working out, wordplay, and things like cryptocurrency, are what makes me unique and spills into my work. My love for line work, stippling, attention to detail, and merging illustrations with lettering is what is helping me keep some cohesion and develop my style. Vomiting the same motivational quote that you see all over Pinterest is boring, and that shit doesn't work anymore. All right? People seen too much of it. They don't care. I encourage you to get out of your comfort zone, constantly experiment, and develop your own style that shows who you are in your work. I really feel that the more you show yourself in your work, you're not only going to stand out better, but people will be more attracted to the individual behind the work as well. So people not only like your work, but they like you as a person, which is always a bonus. Action step. Spend 10 to 20 minutes listing out all the weird things you're interested in. Then pick 10 of these and use them as a prompt for a small side project series. Pretty cool idea. I wish I had a cool hashtag for it. If you do this, do like hashtag show you're weird and tag me so I can see you starting the side project so I can follow along with you. That'd be dope. All right, a bonus section real quick. It's easy to get wrapped up in comparison when following your heroes. However, I feel these people I'm about to mention meet the criteria of reasons to follow because they invested the time to know the fundamentals. They teach what they know through workshops or tutorials. They share the process and show work in progress photos. They provide helpful products. They constantly experiment and push the limits. And they create amazing work you can reference and study. All right, again, in no particular order, these are some of the people I look up to the most. You have Eric Marinovich at Eric Marinovich on Instagram. You have Gemma O'Brien, who has Miss Eves 101. You have Ken Barber, who is Typed Lettering. Neil Secretario, who is Neil Secretario. Mark Canesso, who's also been on the podcast, who is Mark Canesso. Bob Ewing, who's been on the podcast, who's Bob Ewing. Jessica Hish, who is Jessica Hish. Wow, some of these are getting easy. Lauren Hom, who is Hom Sweet Hom. Dana Tanamachi. Sorry if I butchered your name, Dana, but that's Dana_Tanamachi. Lex Wilson of Lex Wilson. Martina Floor of Martina Floor. Ian Barnard. Steven Coons at Steven Coons. So let's wrap this up. Growing an Instagram audience isn't easy, but the benefits of improving your skills, building relationships, and attracting future work is well worth the rugged climb. These 6 tips and action steps are something you can begin implementing as soon as today. It's gonna require time, patience, and a willingness to learn. Focus on creating work that you love, that resonates with you, instead of creating work that you think people want to see. That's a slippery slope, and avoid creating for the masses. Don't get wrapped up in the affirmation and the results. Believe me, relying on people's approval and engagement is a surefire way to feel defeated and suffocate your passion for creating. Keep doing you, constantly be curious, find and show yourself in the work. Growing an audience is a long-term byproduct of doing these things. So there you have it, podcast family. 6 practical tips for growing your Instagram lettering audience. There is a ton of gold in here I've learned over the years, but so much of it, again, can apply to whatever medium you create. And this is something I wish someone would have provided me, so I hope you find it useful, as I put a ton of time, effort, and thought into crafting this for you. I really want it to be of use. I hope it provides you value and can help you elevate your game. And overall, try to get you some client work so you can flex those skills that you've been crafting on behind the scenes. Again, I want to encourage you to find the top hashtags and top accounts in your niche or niche, whatever, and apply the same rules. Share your process images, be active on your stories, and engage. It's practically impossible to grow an audience without putting effort into it. You can't post it, set it, and forget it in the beginning and expect magic. Remember, you get back what you put in. Let's move on to this week's dose of inspiration, and you already know this one's going to Max of lettering_daily. Max is committed to sharing some of the best curated lettering work on Instagram to keep you inspired. His website is loaded with resources, interviews, and articles like today's Bitchin' Post and episode, of course, and others like the top 5 brush pens to own or essential tools for hand lettering beginners and so much more. You won't be disappointed, so check out his Instagram and soak up the knowledge on his website. Oh yeah, if you find this episode and all the resources Max provides to be helpful, don't hesitate to reach out and shoot him a thank you, because people appreciate being appreciated. Now I want to go a little bit more in depth on this Facebook family really quick. If you're looking for accountability, community, a place to share your work, give and receive solid feedback, get access to resources that elevate your creative game, then I encourage you to check out the Perspective-Collective Facebook group. I realize not everybody loves Facebook, but for me, I found what I'm trying to build and create, Facebook just performs the best with the group that I'm trying to build. So we have a thriving community building right now, and we'd love to have you be part of the family. Hop on Facebook and search for the Perspective-Collective to get involved with some rad people with the same mindset as you. If you're enjoying what you hear and you want to support the growth of this show, I have a few ways you can make that happen. The first way is by becoming a backer at patreon.com/perspectivepodcast. Not only can you donate per episode with as little as much as your weekly cup of coffee, but I do my best to hook you up with some rewards as well, so it's a win-win. I'm always open to constructive criticism or any type of feedback that can help me provide more value to you on this platform. The second way to support the show is for you crypto heads out there. In the show notes for each episode, I'll have addresses for Bitcoin, Ether, or Litecoin donations if you prefer to go that route. And finally, you can leave a ratings and review, and please subscribe over on Apple Podcasts. It's not iTunes anymore, it's Apple Podcasts. I have to remember that. It not only helps the show get discovered, but it gives me an opportunity to give you a nice little thank you plug like this week's rating and review. This one comes from CPOS. They titled it, Love It. They say, I love listening to this podcast. Scotty's sincerity is easy to like, and his inspiring, informative guest interviews are always fun. Thank you so much. Quick, simple, to the point. I sincerely appreciate you. And as I wrap things up, you know I got to give a huge thank you to my homegirl, Áine Brennan, for making this episode sound so damn good, all the way from Ireland. And a huge thanks goes to Nick Jenkins of Blookah for all the theme music you hear on the show. Check them out at SoundCloud or on Instagram at Blookah. That's BLOOKAH. And as you finish off your week strong, I want to encourage you to keep showing up, keep putting in the work, and keep creating. You got this.